As a beginner, you often wonder how MQL5 works at all. In fact, this is a bit more difficult to explain, especially if you have had no previous contact with programming languages. However, you can imagine it roughly like this. Every single element you can see on the chart generates a measurable value for MetaTrader and MQL5. Each of these values can be read, interpreted and processed by automation. If you open a box of puzzle pieces, as a human you can tell which piece is an edge piece. You can think of this in a similar way. A chart is like a collection of individual visual puzzle pieces that the human eye perceives. An indicator is a visual representation of several values that have a certain relationship to each other. MQL5 is very good at calculating and can therefore process all the information displayed on the chart in numerical form. Based on these values, it can make a decision whether to open or close a position, for example. However, in order to do this, it is necessary to teach the computer the appropriate rules for these decisions in a form that it can understand. For example, if we have a rule for a price, it is relatively easy to determine whether the current price is moving above or below that value. But what if we don't have clear rules? Well, then we might be able to use a percentage rule or relative references. This may all sound rather complicated, but we do it all the time in everyday life. For example, when driving a car. An experienced driver can tell if the car in front of him is going faster or slower and can adjust his own speed, even without constantly looking at the speedometer. On a highway, we know that the slower vehicles are usually in the right lane, while the faster vehicles that are overtaking or constantly speeding up are in the left lane. These lanes are visually recognizable to us, and similarly we can think of indicators on the chart. For the computer, there are certain areas on the chart where the indicators are displayed. For example, price-related indicators are displayed in the upper part of the chart, where price data and candles are also located, while oscillators are displayed in a separate window below the chart. With MQL5, one can perform simple queries to determine whether a certain value is greater or less than a certain percentage or relative to another value. These rules can be put into a form that is easily understood by both humans and computers via the programming language. Unfortunately, some programmers save the comment lines, which can make the program code unreadable. That is why in our MQL5 course we emphasize defining such rules in the simplest way possible. The goal is always to automate trading as easily as possible. If this is something you are interested in, then our MQL5 course is the right place for you. That's it for now. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.